Okay, so this is Committee of Adjustment, 3:30 September 18th. Tonight, before we begin, I'll introduce our Committee of Adjustment. So Ward 1 is vacant right now. That is Elderton. Ward 2, to my left, is Councilor Wayne Shepley. Big Town is Arba. Oh, Ballymote. Okay, whatever. Over here is Ward 3, Councilor Hugh Arts, Poplar, Coldstream, Poplar Hill. To my left is Councilor Sue Cates, Kamoka Kilworth, and I'm Councilor Frank Burrs of Delaware 5, and I'm the current chair of this meeting. So to begin, and before I go any further, I'll introduce our planners too. Our resident planner is Stephanie Bergman, Stephanie Ray. There you go. Our county planners are Dan Fitzgerald, Dan, and William Francis Ramos Cabell. Did I get it right? There you go. Okay, so now you know who we are. So just to continue, members of the public are invited to participate in this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment by attending the meeting in person at this community center. Members of the public may also access the meeting, which will be live streamed on our Middlesex Center YouTube channel, or by contacting the municipal deputy clerk to receive a registration link to join the meeting electronically. So this committee's clerk is our deputy clerk, Megan Camerons, who sits to my right. Members of the public wishing to appear as a delegation can register for the meeting by visiting the middlesexcenter.ca/participating council meetings, or by contacting the municipal deputy clerk on the Monday of the week of the scheduled meeting. All requests to delegate are subject to the provisions of the Middlesex Center Committee of Adjustment Procedure Bylaw. So that's a lot to say. You can just go to our website, Committee of Adjustment, and get all of this. Members of the public can choose to delegate in person or by electronic participation. Accessible formats and communication supports are available upon request. So now we can dive into the meeting. The first thing on the agenda is, do we have any additions to the agenda? None? Okay. The next thing is disclosure of pecuniary interest, which is disclosure of conflict of interest. Do we have any? No, we'll move on. Next item is the committee has to adopt the minutes of July 17th, 2024. Do I have a move for that? Seconder is Councilor Shipley. Any comments or questions? No? All in favor? That's carried. Okay. So on to current applications, and we have 4 tonight. And I'll tell you, the severance file, which is B15-2024 or 5.4. Those people have asked that be heard first, so I'll allow that. We'll move that to the top of the agenda. Okay. Members of the public that wish to receive further notification on any of the applications being considered today, I ask that you please send an email to planning@middlesexcenter.ca requesting further notification. Please be advised that comments expressed and written material presented are a matter of public record. If you have questions on any of the applications being heard today, we ask that you direct those to the appropriate planner on file, whom I already introduced. Members of the public that have requested to speak will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address council and provide comments on the applications. In keeping with our procedural bylaw and our R-zone policy, I remind all of our meeting participants to use respectful language and uphold our values of cooperation, trust, and openness. So now on to the files. And the first file we're going to hear tonight is 5.4 on the agenda, which is B15-2024. Excuse me, this is a consent application by Shane Johnston on behalf of 1423134 Ontario Limited pertaining to a lot severance. And I'll turn it over to the planner on file, who's Dan Fitzgerald, to present his report.
Through the chair, thanks, members of the committee. So item 5.4 on the agenda tonight, it's a application for a consent to sever, being by file number B15-2024. So the purpose and effect of this particular consent application is to sever the subject lands into 2 lots to allow for the sale of property to 2 separate entities. So the the applicant is seeking to sever the lot back to its original lot lines as the property was previously merged on title. The application would sever a lot with a frontage of approximately 30 meters on Egremont Drive in an area of approximately 6,355 square meters. The retained lot would maintain a minimum frontage of 32 meters on Egremont and an area of approximately 6,889 square meters. And the effect would be to create one lot for the purpose of, I believe it was a tire shop and the other one for an automotive rust proofing business. So the property is located in the hamlet of Lobo, and it's municipally addressed 6378 Egremont Drive. It's bordered by residential development to the northwest and east, agricultural lands to the north and south, as well as commercial lands to the southwest. The severed and retained parcels each contain existing separate commercial structures. It is designated agricultural area in the county's official plan and hamlet in Middlesex Center's official plan. Additionally, the lands are zoned highway commercial or C2 zone in the comprehensive zoning bylaw. So as indicated by the applicant, the parcels were previously two separate commercial lands. However, they did merge on title due to common ownership between the two. As such, the owner is now seeking to separate them into two separate legal entities as previously existed. So generally speaking, the county's official plan and Middlesex Center's official plan do commit or permit severances within the hamlet areas, subject to a number of criteria. In this case, the applicant is seeking to reestablish the existing property lines in compliance with zoning. So the applicant does intend to adjust the lot frontages as noted here tonight to 30 meters for each lot at a minimum to ensure that they do comply with all zoning requirements within the existing C2 zone. So I would note that we did receive one comment from the public. The comment was more so related to the proposed potential use of the lands and not necessarily the severance. I did indicate to the individual that majority of the comments do kind of come into play more so with the actual development of the site and not with the severance. So hopefully those concerns could be addressed through that process. So given the above, I am supportive of the severance to split the merged parcels as the proposed severance is consistent with the provincial policy statement and does conform to the County of Middlesex official plan as well as Middlesex Center's official plan. Additionally, the proposed lots are capable of meeting the zoning requirements for lot size as well as frontage, and therefore I am recommending approval of the consent application, subject to the conditions that are listed in the planning report. Thank you.
Can I read it? That's you, sir. Press the red button.
Thank you. Thank you very much, the chair and members of the committee. My name is William Pohl. I've read the report and I've discussed it with my client. We are satisfied with the recommendation. I agree with the report. Meets the zoning regulations, conforms to the official plans. It was a merger by accident from by law. If it's owned by two properties, two properties are owned by the same people, it merges. We're simply trying to reestablish what existed in the past. And we're satisfied with the conditions that have been recommended by the municipality. I'm available for any questions. Thank you very much.
I'll now turn to members of the public present. Does anybody wish to speak to this file? Yes or no? No. Okay. I'll turn to our deputy clerk. Anybody online? Can we tell? Oh. No, I don't think there's anyone in the room. Okay, and now I'll turn to the committee members. Do any of you have any comments or questions on this file? Councillor Cates?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. I just was going to say what you have already said. The way I read this was that it had merged on title and now we're just splitting it back up. So thank you.
Any other comments or questions from the committee? No. So then I'll move to entertaining motions. Can I have a motion to approve this? Yes. Councillor Arts, motion. Seconder is Councillor Shipley. Okay, all in favor? That's carried. Okay, and now we move back to the top of the agenda, item number 5.1, which is file A-9 2024. It's a minor variance application filed by Adrian Fonville, and it pertains to an accessory building. And I'll turn to Dan Fitzgerald.
So through the chair to members of the committee, the purpose and effect of application for minor variance A-9 2024 is to seek relief from the bylaw as it relates to the maximum lot coverage, height, as well as location requirements for an accessory building that is within the Hamlet residential first density zone. So the applicant is proposing to construct an accessory building along the front yard, which is located generally along the west interior side yard, whereas the bylaw requires that accessory structures be located behind the front wall of the house. Additionally, the applicant is proposing a size of 111.4 square meters, whereas the bylaw permits a maximum size of the lesser of 60 square meters or 3% lot coverage. Additionally, there is a request to increase the maximum permissible height to 6.5 meters, whereas the bylaw permits a maximum height of 6 meters. And again, the effect is to permit the construction of one residential accessory structure on the subject lands used primarily for only residential uses. So the property is located in the hamlet of Poplar Hill and municipally addressed 4 Barclay Boulevard. It is bordered by existing single detached dwellings to the east, a park to the north, and Egremont Drive / agricultural uses to the south. The property contains an existing single detached dwelling and is privately serviced. It's designated settlement area in the county official plan, Hamlet and Middlesex Center's official plan, and it's zoned Hamlet residential first density exception 1 in the bylaw. So I have reviewed the request for minor variance against the Planning Act tests. I would say generally the applicant's lot presents a unique situation based on the existing location of the dwelling being located towards the rear of the property, as well as the trapezoidal shape of the lands. Due to its location, I do not anticipate any negative impacts to adjacent parcels. In order to protect the road allowance, I am recommending as a condition that the accessory building be required to be set back a minimum of 6 meters from the right of way. So aside from the above, I am of the opinion that the proposal does meet the intent of the 4 tests of the Planning Act, in that it's minor in nature, it's an appropriate use of the site, and it does meet the intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw. I would note that I circulated staff did circulate the application and we did not receive any comments back. So given the above, I am recommending approval of application A-9 2024, again, subject to the condition that's listed in the recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. I'll now turn to the public or applicant, should they wish to speak to the file. No, okay, okay. I'll now look to, is anybody on the internet wishing to speak? No? Okay, so did you have a question? Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, to Dan. So I just I get the uniqueness of it all and stuff. I just, want to ask you. So we're asking for the larger lot coverage, a height. Usually you put a little chart in there, the height and the location, which I understand. So you're going to pull in the driveway and go right to get to the building. My thought is on the 8% lot coverage. Is it just because it's a big lot so we can have more, or a small lot, big shop? Are you okay with 8%?
Yeah, so through the chair, yeah, I do understand where you're coming from in terms of lot coverage and accessory building. I believe not really under consideration tonight, but just for your information, council did pass a housekeeping amendment previously. This is about a year ago, which was an update to the accessory building standards. It's still not in force in effect because it is subject to the official plan coming into force in effect, but that did support a maximum of 10% lot coverage. So it does still fall under that threshold. So if we're going to, based on previous direction that we have received from council, I would say that it is appropriate.
Thank you. Good to know. So we also are okay with the building that the shop isn't going to be bigger than the house? You know, that one?
Yeah, through the chair, based on the application information that we did receive, the house is still larger in footprint than the actual accessory building. It's a bit of a unique situation just given how those lots sit on those particular parcels that on that street. The trapezoidal shape, the fact that the house is set back really far from the road, that kind of creates that unique situation that's occurring.
I'll now turn to other members on the committee. Any questions or comments? Councillor Shipley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Question to the applicant. What's the purpose of this building? It's like pushing 1,200 square feet. Just wondering what the purpose of it is. Thanks. The shop would just be for, I do woodworking projects on the side. We have storage needs, from just kids and all that kind of stuff. And then there would be potential for, in the future to run a small office in there. My wife has a home business. That's not anything we're necessarily currently interested in applying for, but we're just kind of future proofing our lot to try to stay there, long term. Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Councillor Arts?
Through the chair to the applicant, in your site plan, I think it's the distance from the road's 2.7. I'm not sure that's feet or meters, but you're aware that the planner just wanted to make sure we were on the same page. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think that's it, sir. Okay, thank you. All right, I'll now consider motions regarding this application. Councillor Shipley, Councillor Cates, all in favor? Okay, that's carried. Okay, we'll move on to the next file, which is 5.2. A13/2024. It's a minor variance application filed by SBM Limited on behalf of John and Deanna Van Lautenstein, and it pertains to a residential accessory building. I'll turn to the planner on this file, who is Marion Francis Ramos Cabral.
Thank you, Chair. The purpose of this report is to provide the committee with a recommendation regarding a minor variance application for a single-family lot located at 31 Milk Creek Lane in Delaware. The purpose and effect of the application, again, is to seek relief from the zoning bylaw as it relates to the maximum lot coverage and the location of a detached accessory building within the community residential first density zone. So this property is located on the north side of Mill Creek Lane and north of the intersection of Mill Creek and York Street. Existing residential development is located surrounding the property, and a creek and woodland is located immediately to the north. Cemetery is located immediately to the east, and agricultural lands are located to the north outside of the Delaware settlement area. As well as regulated area, and a creek runs behind the property, and it abuts natural heritage features, including significant woodland. So the applicant seeks relief to increase the maximum permissible lot coverage from the lesser of 3% or 50 square meters to a maximum of 117 square meters. The 117 square meters would also represent 1.8% lot coverage. So they're specifically requesting the increase in that the square meters. Additionally, the applicant requests to permit the dwelling in the front yard, whereas the zoning bylaw permits accessory structures in the interior side yard and the rear yard. The accessory building is proposed to be approximately 75 meters from the front lot line, and separated from the existing single detached dwelling by about 40 meters. And again, the effect of this application would permit the construction of a detached garage for personal use. Notice of this application was circulated to agencies, the public, as well as staff in accordance with the Planning Act. At the time of writing the staff report, staff did not receive any comments from members of the public. I did have some communication with the budding landowners who just had questions about the building, what it's being used for, and if it would be used for commercial uses. And because this is a residential zone, that would not be permitted. Public Works and Engineering advised that a grading plan and stormwater management control should be considered to not negatively impact the adjacent properties. Similarly, the chief building official requested that a grading plan be prepared by a professional engineer. And finally, because the majority of the lot is regulated, the UTRCA reviewed the application and they don't have objections to the variance, but they are satisfied that the building is located outside of the flooding and erosion hazard area, and the applicant would still need to obtain a permit or a letter of clearance from the UTRCA. So planning staff reviewed the application against 4 tests of the minor variance. Planning staff consider the application to be minor since it is the impact of the location and the size of the proposed accessory building can be mitigated through large separation distances from the front lot line, through landscaping and trees on the property, and that the location of the building is placed towards the eastern property line, which abuts the cemetery. Additionally, the location of the building avoids hazardlands and significant woodland located to the rear of the dwelling and is subordinate in size compared to that existing dwelling on the property. Planning staff also find that the variance is an appropriate use of the land and maintains the intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw, since the proposed building supports the residential use, which is permitted within the official plan and the zoning bylaw. So based on our review, staff do propose 3 conditions related to the comments provided by the engineering department as well as the chief building official related to drainage and stormwater. Additionally, we wanted to clarify that there would be no ability to establish an ARU or an accessory dwelling unless it's permitted by council in the future. And this is standard for most properties that don't have full municipal servicing. So given the analysis in the planning report, staff recommend that the application be approved with 3 conditions as the proposal meets the 4 tests of the minor variance. Thank you.
Thank you, Marian. I understand the applicant is online and listening. So are you the agent or the applicant, sir? Okay. So we'll now turn to you to speak to this file.
Thank you, Chair and members of council. My name is Nick Dijak with Strict Bowling Moyes, the agent on the application. We reviewed the report and thank you for the presentation. We're satisfied with the recommendations and the conditions. We're sure that we could satisfy those relatively easily. The landowners have already been in touch with UTRCA with the design of the layout in the building and have prepared the geotechnical report. So they're well underway with already achieving those conditions, and in terms of engineering and grading, that's all well underway. So the purpose would be to create an accessory building in the front. Like similar to the previous application, would be for storage and parking. So no commercial uses are intended or an ARU. So it's fairly straightforward. And because of the unique lots, the sizes of on Mill Creek and the topography, in my opinion, I didn't feel that this would be a significant change. So with that, I'll be available for questions.
Okay, thank you. There's no one else here right now. Anybody wishing to speak to this? Doesn't appear to be. We'll now move to the committee. Does anybody on the committee have any questions or comments? Council Wright?
Through your chair to sorry, your name? Nick. I've got no issues with any of this. But I think the maximum accessory height for a building is 6 meters. I believe so. Like in the bylaws. Dan, like I said, I'm good with everything, but please don't come back wanting 6.5 meters on the accessory building. That's all I'm saying. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Wright. There we go. I don't think there's any other questions or comments, so I'll now entertain motions regarding this application. There you go. Councillor Cates and Counselor Arts. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you very much. And the final application for this evening is 5.3 on our agenda. It's file A14/2024. It's a minor variance application filed by Glenn Tatsui on behalf of Wei Wei Yang, and it pertains to an accessory building. And I'll turn to the planner on file, who's Marion Francis Ramos Cabral.
Thank you, Chair, and through you to the committee. So the purpose of this report is to provide the committee with a recommendation regarding the minor variance application for 198 Edgewater Boulevard, which is located within the Edgewater subdivision in Kilworth. The purpose and effect of the application is to seek relief from the zoning bylaw as it relates to the maximum lot coverage for detached accessory building within the urban residential first density zone. So this property is located on the south side of Edgewater Boulevard and southwest of the intersection of Edgewater Boulevard and Westbrook Drive. Existing and future residential development is located surrounding this property to the east, west, and north, and the Thames River and woodland is located immediately to the south. A small portion of this property is regulated by the UTRCA, and the lands that abut this property are also natural heritage features, including significant woodland. So this applicant seeks to increase the maximum permissible lot coverage from the lesser of 3% or 50 square meters to 4.18%, which would permit a structure that is approximately 36 square meters in area. The effect of this application would allow the construction of an accessory building in the rear yard in the form of a recreational golf shed, as the applicant has deemed it. Notice of this application was circulated to agencies, staff, and neighboring property owners. At the time of writing this report, staff did not receive any comments from members of the public or from municipal staff. The UTRCA reviewed the application and stated that they have no concerns with this minor variance application. However, the applicant would need to obtain a permit or a letter of clearance since the location of the shed is within the regulated area. Planning staff reviewed this application against the 4 tests of a minor variance. We determined that the increase in lot coverage represents an approximate increase of 107 square feet. As a result of this, we determined that the impacts from this variance are minimal, especially when the location of the building is in the rear yard. It's directly supportive of the residential use of the land and is subordinate in size compared to the principal dwelling. Further building would be backing onto the woodland area and have minimal impacts on surrounding neighbors. Given our analysis within the staff report, staff recommend that the subject application be approved as the proposal meets the test of the minor variance. Thank you. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Marion. As with nobody here present, I'll turn to the internet. Is the applicant or agent online? No, no. I'll now turn to the committee to ask them, do you have any comments or questions on this file? I'll now entertain motions to vote on this file. Councillor Shipley, Councillor Cates, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you very much. That's the end of the files. Now on to correspondence. We have 6.1, 6.2, 6.3. These are from conservation authorities commenting on the above files. So I'll turn to the committee and ask, do you have any comments or questions on that correspondence? No, none. Okay, I'll entertain motions to accept the correspondence. Councillor Shipley, Councillor Cates, all in favor? Okay. Item number 7, do we have any other business to discuss tonight? No, okay. And our planner is shaking her head. Okay. Move on to my favorite part of the meeting, adjournment. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Seconder? Okay. All in favor? The meeting is officially adjourned.